Hello everyone, this is the Dreadpirate once again recording from an undisclosed location far out at sea, but this time having computer troubles, and that's why we no longer have the 50 Fathoms pirate symbol, but the old Captain Morgan symbol out again, so that's why that's there. I've been having some computer troubles, guys, a few other little problems, been kind of down about them, so I thought I'd come on here and talk to you about something happy to cheer me up, and what I would like to do today is talk about one of my favorite shows in the whole wide world coming back, Arrested Development Season 5. So we just got, about a week ago, we just got the first 8 episodes of Season 5. We've got 8 more coming later in the year, 9 through 16. So I checked them out, I watched them, and wanted to give you my thoughts. This going to be kind of a short review, in all honesty. I liked it. I'm a big fan of Arrested Development. I think it's a really funny, very, very clever show. I think the first 3 seasons are really, really priceless and great, and kind of a nice complete story with a little bit of place to grow. I was really happy when it was brought over to Netflix. I think it was one of the first shows to be brought to Netflix, to be just kind of a Netflix original series, and it was kind of a big deal. And then it didn't do so well, but I remember I would just being super hyped for it when it went over, and I really like season 4. Although I admit, season 4 is weird. Season 4 is a very weird season, but it's what I like about it though is it's kind of this bizarre whodunit. It's like all the major, we basically, they separated the family. They separated the Bluth family, and each episode focuses on a different character and what they're going up to. And I agree. I think many other critics have said this is that part of the strength of the original show was the ensemble nature of the show, and basically just seeing the family members bounce off one another is, I think, part of what really pulls the first 3 seasons together and what makes them really, really interesting. And you lose that when you separate these people and put them on their own, and that's basically what happened. We focused on what's happening to Michael one episode, what's happening to Job another episode, what's happening to maybe another episode, and we just kind of focus on them over an extended period of time, like a couple years, couple months, and everything kind of boils to a head at Cinco. It's unusual. It does lose something in it as a result. It feels like it's taking something away from the original feel of the show, but at the same time, it's kind of trying something new. It was an interesting experiment, and I did enjoy it. And it basically, one part of what I liked about it was, not only was it still very, very funny, but it was setting up this mystery. And I guess spoilers for everybody who hasn't seen seasons 1 through 4. I mean, they've been out for years. What do you want? But everything kind of boils to a head of this mystery of essentially the entire season 4 basically sets up this mystery as to what happened to Lucille 2, Liza Minnelli's character, what happened to Lucille Estero, and I kind of setting up the new family member that is going to be in trouble and is going to be arrested, and whose freedom and livelihood is in jeopardy. And essentially, and I kind of saw this initially towards the end of the first season, it was going to be Buster. Buster was going to be basically put in jail for the murder of Lucille too. First 3 seasons we're dealing with George Sr. trying to get him out of trouble. Season 4, Lucille Bluth's in trouble, and then of course now Buster's the one in jail. And I'm calling it now. I'll get to that later. The whole thing was kind of a setup for what is this big mystery of what happened to Lucille too, and it ends with this crazy cliffhanger of Michael and George Michael discovering that basically they've been both dating the same woman. They've both been dating Rebel Alley, and George Michael is of course hurt and punches Michael right in the face, and then stares at him just hurt. And it was a beautiful. I really like season 4. It was really beautiful, but just for the longest time, it was like, okay, the show's canceled again, and I don't know what's going to happen. And it just ends right there. It ends right there with just. There's still so much we don't know about what's going to happen. We don't know what happened to Lucille too. We don't know how the rest of the family is going to deal with all the crazy stuff they're going on. And we don't know if Michael and George Michael are going to be okay anymore. And so, seriously, it's like 2-3 years I've been waiting to know what happened. I've been waiting to know what happened next. And I'm so happy they got a 5th season. So we finally see it. So on to the actual review of the show. I don't want to get into too many spoilers if I can avoid it, because I actually want you to watch the show. I will gladly spoil Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom or Solo for you any day of the week, because those are shitty movies, and let me just tell you what happens so you don't have to suffer like I did. But this is good. I want you to watch Arrested Development. If you haven't watched Arrested Development, check it out. It's a really funny show. It's on Netflix. It's perfect. It is the perfect Netflix series. It's the perfect show you can just put on, like in the background, what you're doing, and just laugh your ass off while you're living your life. It is a perfect show to binge watch. It's hilarious. It's great. So I want you to watch this. I want you to watch this, and I want you to watch season 5. It's like, this is definitely a step up from the previous season because the family's back together. It's back together, and now it's like all the setup for this big mystery as what's happened to Lucille too, and how is the family going to deal with this, is now underway. And once again, Michael is in the driver's seat as the hero again, trying to, he's the one man that can keep the family together. So he's kind of put into it. We're seeing the after effects of everything that's happened to all the other characters, including Job's little crisis with Tony Wonder, and so on and so forth. And it's actually really good. They do make a lot of callbacks, and it's which are essentially our running gags. If I have a criticism, it's like I like those running gags and those kind of references to previous jokes, but at the same time, it's like, okay, come on. It's like I think it almost feels like they do it a little too much. But honestly, I think this is a step up from season 4 because the family's back. You have all the characters together in one room, interacting, dealing with this, and actually everybody's trying to figure this out to some degree. Again, the only one that really has no other agenda other than trying to do the right thing. Well, that's not even true. The straight man, once again, is Michael. And Michael's kind of in the position of figuring out what's going on and trying to get to the bottom of what's happening here and trying to help the family get back together. The problem is he doesn't want to. He's so fed up with the family at this point. He wants to leave. He wants to say, no, solve your own problems, but he just can't. He keeps on getting dragged back in. And to the point where it's a running gag, where it's a family joke that he's like, oh, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. And it's like, and it's just like, he kind of is coming to terms with like, whatever, I can't say that. It's not going to work. We actually saw what happened immediately after George Michael punched him in the face. And it's kind of neat because it's like they essentially go, again, I don't want to spoil it, but it was like it's something that's very much them. It's something very much this father and son would do in this situation. And I'm kind of comforted by the fact that, like, I think they're going to be okay, but at the same time, it's not okay. Things have changed, and there's still there are repercussions. And Michael still now has other motivations as to what he wants to accomplish. As well. There's other things that are still kind of up in the air. He's still dealing with the fact that the son's dating Rebel and what he should do about that. He's not sure. I think one of the interesting themes I'm noticing is that Michael is kind of turning into George Sr. to some degree, and it's like this kind of this family history of lying to each other and lying with the family. It's like I can see where it gets from. It's like if you look at it, George Sr. is a good guy deep down. He's a little greedy, and he's definitely done some bad things. He's definitely, been a crook before. I mean, that was the whole set of, they did embezzling and all sorts of stuff like that. The family's always trying to pull something, but, deep down, he's got a good heart. But you kind of see that, like, well, maybe for him, with him and his relationship with Lucille, it kind of started this pattern of lying, and now that's kind of passing to Michael. Michael's getting into the habit of lying to his son, and then his son is noticing he's lying to him, and guaranteed when George Michael has a kid, it's going to happen to him too. But yeah, everything's pulling together. It's very funny. We're still, the story is progressing nicely. We're kind of following up on everything that was set up in season 4, and the mystery is, I'm still intrigued to see what happens. Season 8, episode 8, it's like a mini season finale. It's like a mini season finale where basically a bunch of stuff happens and a bunch of stuff progresses, but we got a few answers, but we don't have everything. And like there's still so much about, like, again, we still don't know what happened to Lucille too. Michael basically made a big move to try to make everything okay, and he's probably going to pay for it at the end of the season. My prediction is, based on what he does at the end of episode 8, is like, this season may end, or later in the season, what's going to happen is, oh yeah, Buster's going to get out of jail, but Michael's actually going to be put in jail, and then the family member that is in jail that has to be rescued is Michael. And the worst part about that is the only people that can save him is the rest of the family, the people that are completely dependent on him. So it's like, oh god, he's boned. So that's really, really neat. Okay. Again, I don't want to spoil too much. I probably have said too much already. Couple things I want to talk about, like the funniest jokes. My favorite. Well, there's one more thing. I want to talk about. I want to talk about Ron Howard's performance, because it was like, all right. So I like Ron Howard a lot, especially as I mentioned in my Solo review. It's like again, if he ever hears this, like, Ron, you're a great guy. Don't beat yourself up too much about Solo. It's not your fault. That movie was doomed to begin with, and there's other stuff at play here that you have no control over. You did the best you could. It was, I really like Ron Howard. I've liked him in the show from way back when he was just the narrator, and then he became like a major character in season 4, and it was almost too much. It was almost like Ron Howard was on screen and a character. I mean, it was fun to see him there, and it was fun to see him actually interacting as himself with the characters, but it was almost a little too much of it. But I actually really, I noticed he's a little bit more, like, there's less of him in this season. He's still there, and he's still an important character to what's going on, but we kind of reserved him to like a couple episodes here and there, one of which being the big barbecue that his family has, where we actually got to see his dad, and there's a really funny joke where basically his dad has a lot of wisdom, but don't ask him about climate change, and his dad's like, it's a myth, and I was like, that was cool, and it was kind of cool to see his dad on the screen as well. We got to see Bryce Dallas, who I've also been talking about lately, because I talked about her movie last time, and I didn't have the best things to say about her. But she's really great in the movie. Again, I didn't like Fallen Kingdom, but, I like Bryce Dallas. I do. I think she's a talented actress. I think she does a good job. And it's like, and again, there's something she's brought to the table in both Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, regardless of the fact I'm not feeling Fallen Kingdom, that I like. It's just as an actress. Again, I like this kind of Tracy and Hepburn thing that's going on with her. I feel like her character in Fallen Kingdom her character in the Jurassic World movies is almost a really good heroine. She's almost a really good, like, adventurer character, or just kind of female hero. Just not quite. And I feel like that's it. Could be that the way the character's written. It could be that, like, the directing problems that I've noticed in both films, especially Fallen Kingdom. But it's like, yeah, she's like, she's not an unlikable character. She's not a great character, but it's like there's definitely something I like that Bryce Dallas is bringing to the table in those movies. And she shines in this. She gets a nice little scene with Michael in this that basically makes him worry about his son and Rebels. That's nice. But one thing, main reason I wanted to bring up Ron Howard is like there's less of him in this, but he's still a major character. But I noticed, like, and this was something I was noticing in season 4, is that there's a lot of in-jokes about Imagine Entertainment in season 4 and 5 especially. Basically about Ron and his partners, and but, like, in particular, the scene at the barbecue was really, really great, and I feel like there was a really good one of the better jokes in the thing was talking about how, like, we always laugh when either when something funny or uncomfortable happens, and it's like, and I think George Michael mentions, like, like if your movie doesn't do too well, and then all of a sudden he just starts laughing. It's like they're just, I thought that was a really cute scene, and a lot of what's like, a lot of what the characters seem to say about Ron in season 4 and season 5 are like, oh, he's like one of the nicest guys ever, like the nicest guy in Hollywood. But it's like one thing I'm noticing about Ron Howard, at least in season 4 and 5, and I think it came to a head in that episode, was like, yeah, Ron seems like well, I don't know about that, but like Ron seems like a nice guy, but in the show, in Arrested Development, he seems like a really nice but passive aggressive individual. He's just like, he doesn't want to offend you, but at the same time, he's he's very good at just basically telling you to fuck off while smiling to your face while doing it. It's like I really like the scene where basically Michael comes in and initially confronts him, and they, again, their business didn't go too well, and he's not, they don't. It's very apparent that basically Ron's not happy to see him there, and Ron just kind of looks at him and says, "Hey, thanks for sneaking in." It's like, my God, Ron Howard is the most passive aggressive. I don't know about him as a person, but his character is the most passive aggressive character in this story's universe, and he really is. So I thought that was interesting, and that was one of the better episodes I really liked. My favorite jokes. Like, the favorite jokes that really just kind of, like, made me laugh and just really, I thought was great was, I like the, so I don't want to spoil it too much, but basically, for lack of a better term, Michael, after his son hits him, decides to take martial arts in case his son tries to hit him again. And so they have that scene where they're talking in the hallway, And George Michael wants to say, I'll see you later, and he tries to give him a high five, and then Michael freaks out, ducks to the ground, and sweeps George Michael's leg, and George Michael pours off the side, and it suddenly has this action movie music, and they stand up, and he's like ready to fight him, and they're like, what the hell? And it's just like, that was like hilarious. He's so scared of his son. His son's gonna kick his ass again that he learned martial arts. It was, and that scene was like built into a head. It's like he's ready for it. That was great. The other thing was when another thing I really liked is when George Michael shows up at Rebel's house with all the sex toys, and there's that one device, which is actually a device that old people use to put shoes on, and it's like, Rebel Alex, well, what's this? And then we cut to an infomercial about it, and it's Gilbert Godfrey. Gilbert Godfrey's, this is a shoe putting on it. It puts on your shoes, no longer being an old person. It was hilarious, and it was like, yes, Gilbert Godfrey. I love Gilbert Godfrey. So it was like, that was a really great scene. Also a note, Alia Shawkat maybe looks really hot in old lady makeup. When that whole kind of 68-year-old wig she's got, I think she looks really hot in that outfit. I think she's looking really good. It's just like, just something about like the glasses or something like that. It's like, the whole, I don't know, like middle-aged Italian woman kind of look. She looks good. She looks good like that. So anyway, Arrested Development Season 5, it's really, really good. I'm really excited for episodes 9 through 16. I can't wait for it to come out. I don't think they've released a date for when it'll come out, but check it out. Check out Arrested Development. It's a funny show. This is the Dreadpirate saying, keep laughing, guys.